Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Big Screen Show. My name is Victor.
I'm Alex.
And we're back bringing you guys another movie review. This time, I'm excited because it's my favorite production company, A24's latest movie, The Iron Claw, starring Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White, who I haven't seen The Bear, but you're telling me it's a great show.
Phenomenal show.
Okay, yeah, I gotta watch that. I'm sure it's everybody's seen it, obviously, so I'm behind on that train, but I really enjoy this movie. Let's start with general thoughts. I want to go first. Honestly, I was kind of always, since this movie was announced, very confused. Not confused, maybe the word is more curious, I should say, as to why A24 picked this movie up, because from the trailers at least, it just seemed like a movie just simply about wrestling and this group of brothers, just very surface level, nothing really too deep. And so I was interested and curious because A24 has this characteristic about their work of art where it's mysterious, dark, scary, sad, different, I don't know what other adjectives can fit in there, but happy-go-lucky usually isn't one of them.
Definitely not that.
So I was curious, just simply curious. But now after seeing the movie, it makes perfect sense, right? To me, it makes perfect sense. So I loved it more and more as I guess it's the movie. I look at it as onions, and you start peeling layers and layers and layers as you go and watch it and continue through it. So I started off, like I said, curious, and by the end of it, I'm completely in love. I love the movie. A24, again, at its greatest. I mean, cinematography, plot, great cast, Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White. I really, really enjoyed this movie. Definitely a lot more than I thought I would. I mean, I wasn't expecting to hate it or anything, but I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. Overall, I truly enjoyed my time, and it's a crazy, crazy story, and I have to give this movie a 9 out of 10. Really one of my favorite movies of the year, for sure. Which is cool, because it's right near the end of the year, so I love when that happens. It's kind of like my Babylon from last year kind of thing, where it was it came out late in the year, but it was amazing. It's that kind of thing, but this year. So, 9 out of 10 for me, but what were your thoughts on The Iron Claw?
Yeah, okay. For me, when I saw the trailer, I mean, I knew it was gonna be about it's gonna be about a wrestling family, and it's gonna be, and I saw that it was inspired by a true story.
Right.
And
really quick, sorry to cut you off, but that was another thing. You know me, I love inspired by a true story.
Yeah.
Movies. So that was it was that plus A24. It was I didn't even care what it would be about. I'm there, But go ahead.
But yeah, when I found it was gonna be about that, and had some dark twist to it or something involving a member of their family.
You thought it would?
Yeah, because this family kind of seemed like it had something to do with my generational abuse of wrestling, along the father and the son thing. But again, I'm not a wrestling fan. I just wrestling's fine. It's really good for it's good for performance stuff, but still feels very real. It's really a performance, really, but it's just not for me. I don't like it, but I don't hate it. But I'm more of a UFC guy for martial arts, for a martial arts enthusiast for the real stuff.
Right.
But so it's had some really good wrestling scenes and things like that, where again you could tell it was feeling staged and still staged and performance wise, but that's the point, especially since it was the made for the 80s, so it was usually all about showmanship for or down and gritty type thing, which I think it did for that very well. The performances by standouts Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White were done very great, and even said how Zac Efron's performance in this movie would be Oscar worthy, and I think I can see some bits of that. I think that's definitely his top 5 role that I can see that he's been doing.
Definitely.
But yeah, honestly,
top 3 even.
Yeah. Honestly, I think for me, normally the movie would have been an 8 for me, because I'm not a fan of wrestling, but it has good performance wise and everything, and good story. But I'm giving this movie a 9 because by the end of it, by its third act, it gave a really good emotional climax type thing, and kind of cements itself for what the movie was really going for by the end, which we're gonna get into later on in the film. But there's like this one scene that feels like that comes out of nowhere that I never thought it was gonna go, but it's so emotional and just feels like so personal, and you can really feel that emotion coming off it, especially in like a later scene with Zac Efron's character just kind of like getting emotional and breaking down, which I think really cemented that for me to give it like a 9, because at its core it really is just like family and love of brothers and just that love, and I think that's what really cemented for me. So Iron Claw, it's a 9 out of 10 for me right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's just, like I said, like, I looked at it as, like, because it started out really simple, and the more and more you go, the story gets way more and more complex. You peel back those layers, like I was saying. So I'm borderline speechless. Honestly, I really enjoyed the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, definitely go watch it. It's amazing. It really is. It really is a really good film. And like I said, or like you said, it's based on a true story, so that heightens the craziness of like what you're seeing, because of the events that are occurring and things like this. So like, I mean, at least for me, it definitely always heightens it, because like, if it's not based on a true story, crazy things occurring in a movie is like, okay, and like kind of more slide under your radar, because it's like, oh, make believe.
Well, yeah, depending on the type of movie. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
but when you're told it's based on a true story, you're just like, whoa, this like really happened. I always get that vibe to it. So, anyways, 2 thumbs up from us, no doubt about it. I mean, not even close. Definitely go watch this movie. It is worth every penny. We're about to get into some spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, this is where you click off the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing. We try to bring you guys videos like this at least once a week, sometimes more. And yeah, if you like this video, please, the best way to let us know that you like it is by hitting that thumbs up button down there. So please make sure to do that. Now, moving forward, now that we're in spoiler territory, what was that scene you were just talking about at the end that sold it for you? That was really emotional. Obviously, yeah. I saw it, but can you remind me?
Yeah, it's actually for that scene where actually most of like Zac Efron's character Kevin, where basically he lost his brothers because they all killed themselves. But then like when the final brother Carrie, who's like the last brother alive, chose to kill himself, it then gets into like them and him on this boat and like in the afterlife of heaven, and then seeing all of his brothers that have passed.
Yeah. Right. No, of course. Very moving. Yeah. Crazy. So, let's talk about that. Basically, this movie, in a nutshell, covers a family in the world of wrestling, which you were talking about earlier about you're not really a huge fan of wrestling. I'm where you stand now, but when I was younger, I was like a huge wrestling fan, actually.
Yeah, you were like a Rey Mysterio fan,
yeah,
right?
I loved wrestling. So now watching this movie, it's definitely up my alley. Like, I mean, as far as like enjoyability is, considered. But basically, a family in the world of wrestling, and all they want is to be world heavyweight champions of the world. And obviously, they have four capable, borderline four, really three.
Yeah, really just three.
Yeah, brothers that are able to compete at a high level, and but it seems as if their family is cursed, and they always have some kind of tragedy happen to them. So really quick, we'll cover that. The first brother gets their shot. He's in Japan. He dies from a ruptured intestine in Japan. He was doing obviously lots of steroids and other types of drugs to keep up with just the business, if you will. And so the first brother dies, and you're just like, whoa, because that's tragic. So then Carrie, the brother you were just talking about, he loses a foot. He loses a whole foot one night, just drunk, got on his motorcycle, and he was speeding, and he loses a foot because he obviously crashed. So he's like amputated without a foot, already crazy. And this is all within a very short amount of time from each other, these two events. And you add the third one, where the youngest brother.
And the one who actually isn't a wrestler and didn't want to do wrestling. He was a musician, and his brother's name was Michael.
Right. And then he uh suicides. Yeah, he overdoses himself on pills, and that happened very shortly after that.
Well, actually, what it did was he did overdose, but then he just like he went off somewhere, and I don't know. He probably
Well, he just
overdosed,
walked off into the woods.
and then they just found his body. So I don't know the ritual how he actually did kill
No,
himself.
he overdosed. He just like, since it takes a while for it to happen, I assume he walks away, and then at some point he like literally just died, but he just kept walking. That's how I see it, anyways. But yes, then he dies, and then at this point we only have Carrie, which is played by Jeremy Allen White, and Kevin, which is Zac Efron, and he had a he really Kevin, Zac Efron's character, is the only one that can wrestle at this point, but somehow, which this didn't get explained, I guess through rehab and other things, he was able to wrestle again after he had lost a foot, and I guess he got into a really good place with wrestling, but I guess his life was not very happy, and so then he ends up offing himself and killed himself, and he shot himself, and that is crazy. So at this point, uh, Kevin has one. He has himself, really, where he had a total of five. It was a family of five brothers,
yeah, originally. Because he actually had this loss, like their oldest brother, he was so young. Because as we see later on with Carrie in the afterlife with all his brothers, we see like their oldest brother, but he was literally just like a child that was like looked like about maybe 5, 8 years old or something like that.
Yeah, he died around. Yeah, it was like five. I think he said so. A total of five, a family of five brothers. Now he's just the oldest and all by himself, and that is crazy. I just wanted to recap kind of like the tragedy in this film really quick, but really, if you think about it, it's a movie about resilience as well. Because Kevin could have also decided to give up at any given point in time, considering how much tragedy occurred in his life, and especially in such a short span of time. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy. But honestly, I were you expecting that? I want to ask you that. Like, were you expecting any of those things to happen? Because I was not.
I didn't expect that at all.
Okay, okay.
I was expecting like maybe one critical death, but not like a whole like wave of family deaths within like probably like either a couple of years or maybe a couple of months or a couple of months span.
Right.
But like, no, Zac Efron's character Kevin, he really went through a real emotional trauma through most of that stuff. Because like he was like the oldest brother. And even said beforehand when he met this girl Pam who became his wife, she basically said that he has big brother syndrome, where he just wants to be there, provide for his brothers. He always wants to be around his brothers. They always have fun together, and like yeah, he's basically just a big brother at his core, but he has no brothers, so he doesn't have that connection except for his two kids and his wife later on in the movie.
Right. And it was really sad because he was talking about his brothers, in a way that a lot of other people don't talk about their sibling. I mean, everybody loves their sibling, obviously, but sometimes, they bicker, they argue, and they don't spend a lot of time together, maybe because they don't have the greatest relationship, lots of variables in that type of dynamic of having a sibling, a brother, a sister, whatever. But he talked about his brothers as if he would love to hang out with them all day, every day, and he would not have a problem with that at all. Yeah. Because he just loved his brothers so much, and he just liked being with them, working with them, like whether it was housework, things like this, whatever it was, he was just completely happy being in their company. So you knew how much it weighed on him after he after he literally lost them all. It was crazy. But also on that point, I was watching an interview. Zac Efron was talking about something that helped him get into this role was the fact that he actually does have brothers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He actually does have brothers. So he was like, he actually said this movie was very personal for him in that sense, because he really just wanted to get into that Big Brother setting, Big Brother kind of mindset, and kind of dig into that within this character in this role. And so I totally saw that. I just wanted to say that I totally saw that. I think Zac Efron's performance was great, absolutely crazy, in the sense that you had to find a way to be super talented physically with all the things he had to do involving the wrestling, the working out, the exercise, all this part of the movie, and also balancing. It's like he had to go as hard physically as he had to go as hard emotionally in this movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is commendable for sure.
I think that is definitely is why the emotional moments really impact me more compared to like everything else that happened in the movie, because I really got to really see that. Because the way you're saying is, if he does embodying that, and just imagine he literally had to put himself in the idea of him losing his own brothers, and just imagining that getting to that mindset of the actual Kevin Von Erich wrestler of how when he lost his brothers, if he. And then just thinking about that, it's crazy, because especially in that one other moment scene where he literally was facing the wrestler Ric Flair in a match, and he literally put him in the Iron Claw, just literally crushing it in his hand, and literally just feeling all that frustration of like losing his brothers, and also dealing with the frustration of like this type of legacy and championship title determination that was basically kind of pushed onto by his father, and just feeling all that frustration put into like that one emotional moment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's another big part of this movie as well. Their father is. It was giving me a very big Tiger Woods thing. Cause I know a lot about Tiger Woods, and I love golf. Maybe you don't, but
I don't love golf.
Tiger Woods' dad was like that. Pushed him to be better, the best, like really very little like love, but he still loved the crap out of his dad, even though his dad probably didn't treat him the best, because all he cared about was like his professional life and the sport and the athlete, his son, instead of like his son simply, which it was giving a lot of that in this movie. So that's kind of what I was like, it was like resembling to in my mind at least. But regardless of the point, his dad was very, I don't even know. How would you describe his dad? His dad was like borderline crazy. He was really obsessed with that title, really obsessed with his sons being at the top, being the best, because you felt as if he didn't celebrate anything besides anything but a positive news in the wrestling world. Except for the obvious one time where Kevin gets married and he was at a wedding, so that was nice. But he was very hyper focused and hyper fixated on in the wrestling world, and ultimately I think was a negative in the end, as we saw in that scene, and well, right before the scene where he was talking about where you see all the brothers in like the afterlife. Zac Efron's character Kevin literally strangles his dad almost to death because he
after finding Carrie's body.
Right, after finding the last straw, right? Like his last brother died, and he was like, he kind of woke up and made that realization, like, what are you doing? Like, why haven't you helped my family? Like, why haven't you helped us? Like, I asked you for help, and you just put everything on us. Like, crazy moment.
Yeah, I think that's also a really important moment there too, because it always says something about like the families being cursed and everything, but I feel like in this instance, it's because like their father is the cause, is the curse.
Mm-hmm.
The father is the curse of the family, because most of everything that happens is literally because the brothers are literally trying to do this whole wrestling thing and trying to push themselves because of him. They want to make him proud. They want to show. They want to be the champs because he wants them to be the champs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even
they want to do it for him.
Yeah, even the younger son Michael had no ambition to want to be a wrestler.
Yeah, no business.
I mean, plus, and he was like the scrawniest kid, while his other brothers were like muscular and strong.
Right.
And he ended up hurting himself because his body wasn't built to withstand that type of stuff for training.
Right. Which ultimately led to him killing himself, sadly. So
yeah, so pretty much most of the cause is literally because of the father.
Yeah. I didn't look at it through that lens until you just said it, but very factual. I agree, 100%. Really. It's funny because he always felt like the curse was just such a big thing in his life, and even for a second neglected his own family due to the curse or the idea of the curse, right?
Yeah,
But
because Kevin, because of the whole rampant with his brothers and stuff like that, he didn't even want to hold his children anymore.
yeah,
For that one, in a couple of scenes.
yeah, he neglected his own family due to it. But when you look back at it, it's really his father. Wow, yeah, you're right. It's crazy. A lot of that can definitely be traced back to the dad, 100%. Man, anything else you gotta say on the Iron Claw?
Honestly, all I can say is that if what everything that happened is like what really happened, stuff like that, it really makes the Von Erich brothers even more of a really tragic story, and how they literally used to be like a family of like brotherly love and bonding, but then just got completely destroyed by their old father's selfish ambition and pushing it onto his own sons.
Yep, definitely. It's crazy. I'm gonna have to do definitely some more research on this story and see what's really accurate, what's really not, and what was exaggerated for movie purposes. However, I did see at the Dallas premiere of this movie, which is where they premiered it to the world. Because usually they do world premieres in bigger cities like New York, London,
Los
LA,
Angeles,
things like this. But they did the world premiere obviously in Dallas because Texas based movie, all this. And Kevin Von Erich, which is the only one living, the brother was there with his family. And there's pictures of him and Zach and stuff like this. So clearly, there is a level of certainty and genuineness, I should say, to this movie when it comes to that and the story itself. Because if not, probably the guy probably wouldn't be there.
Yeah, probably not.
So, yeah. Wow, I mean, really, it's just like, holy cow. I can't wait to watch it again. I want to watch it again, honestly. Like, wow, 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 wow. What a movie. Really crazy, crazy, crazy. That's going to do it for us. If you haven't seen The Iron Claw, what are you doing? Turn this video off and go watch it. Literally, like, it's amazing. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. I didn't say one of the best movies of the year. One of my favorite movies of the year. There's a difference. However, it probably is still within that list. Go watch it. It's out now. It's amazing. A24, they did it again. If you don't know how things work around here, we try to bring you guys videos at least once a week. So please make sure to join us and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video. And also, if you like videos like this, please make sure to let us know by hitting that thumbs up button on there because it really does help us out. But with that being said, that's going to do it for us. This is the Big Screen Show. We'll see you guys very soon. Peace.